Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Little Rock, where love is our teaching and service is our prayer. My name is Lisa Brents. I lead our membership team, so if you're interested in becoming a member, I can help you out with that. Keep me in mind. If you are a newcomer, we're glad you have chosen to join us for worship. While you're here, please stop by our guest table out in the foyer to fill out a guest card and pick up some information about our church. So now I invite this morning's illuminator, Amanda Goldbeck, to come forward to light the chalice and lead us in our affirmation of covenant, which you can find printed in your order of service.
I light this chalice with these words. Open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Open our minds to learn what is true. Open our hearts to love one another. Please join me in the affirmation of covenant, saying, Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Last Monday, I heard a radio announcer say that it was the anniversary of the day Christopher Columbus set sail for the West, having no idea what he would find there. But I remember learning in school that he had a theory. He thought he would find India or China. And when he arrived, he decided, from all appearances, it must be India. Hence, to this day, folks call the native peoples of this continent Indians. On a follow-up voyage, about a decade later, an employee of the Medicis named Amerigo Vespucci realized that Columbus had stumbled onto a continent previously unknown to Europeans, and before another decade had passed, map makers were flattering him by naming the two continents the Americas. Most native inhabitants had only local names for the land. In the eastern woodlands region of what is now the United States, many communities called the land Turtle Island, after a shared creation story that told how the world was supported on the back of a turtle. This same story later inspired the anecdote about someone asking, "But what supports the turtle?" Comes the answer, it's turtles all the way down. Last March, you might remember the White House announced that a statue of Columbus had been installed on its grounds outside the Eisenhower Executive Office Building. As we celebrate our nation's 250th anniversary of independence, they said, the White House is proud to honor Christopher Columbus's legendary life and legacy with a well-deserved statue on the White House grounds, adding, in this White House, Christopher Columbus is a hero, and President Trump will ensure that he's honored as such for generations to come. Of course, if you have been to Union Station in Washington, you know that directly in front of it is the Christopher Columbus Memorial Fountain, dedicated in 1912, which already features a statue of Columbus out where thousands of commuters and tourists see it every day. But it has become an object of controversy, with many calls for its removal, because many see it as a celebration not of Columbus, but of the doctrine of discovery. So what's going on around this Columbus statue at the White House is simply another application of unitary executive authority. Where there is controversy, distract. Where there is movement, divert. Where there is persistence, attack. Where there is progress, revert. Some 70 years ago, in the first issue of his magazine, National Review, William F. Buckley Jr. famously announced that its mission would be to stand athwart history, yelling, "Stop!" He might appreciate me calling that remark hyperbolic, were he around to hear me, intellectual, sophisticated that he was, but he also kind of meant it. Back in the 1960s, the sociologist Robert Bellah wrote an essay titled Civil Religion in America and brought to public consciousness the notion that patriotism can be a kind of religion. No doubt he was moved to think along these lines after Congress voted to adopt "In God We Trust" as the official national motto. There had never been an official national motto before, but there was a ubiquitous, unofficial national motto, the Latin phrase "E pluribus unum," out of many one, which first appeared on a U.S. coin in 1795. Originalists take note. It was used on coins on and off throughout the 19th century and first appeared on U.S. paper currency in 1935 when it was incorporated on the back of the $1 bill. Starting in 1964, "E pluribus unum" has appeared on every U.S. coin, and I do not think it coincidental. That was a quiet institutional answer to the official motto. Bellah had become interested in how nations sacralize political authority. He noted the official motto as one expression of a non-sectarian national faith, evidence of an existing civil religious tradition. He analyzed documents such as the Declaration of Independence, speeches, notably President Kennedy's inaugural address, and national rituals like Thanksgiving or Veterans Day or Memorial Day, and found more such expressions and evidence. Now, most in Congress who voted in favor of "In God We Trust" as the official national motto probably would have dismissed the notion that it would serve to sacralize white Christian nationalism. Very likely they regarded these as harmless words with lots of popular resonance. But we now can see how it was a foot in the door. And in the Columbus controversy, we see the same sacralizing strategy at work, this time not through Congress, but by executive authority. "Who are you going to believe?" Nasruddin asked. That's what we have there. Motives like those undermine our shared sense of what's true, as we all know now and keenly feel. What we do not always remember is that getting at truth requires some imagination. We often separate science and religion in our thinking as if they were church and state, but I think they're more alike than unalike. For one, they both require imagination. When we think of science, we think of looking for evidence. That task is analytic, not imaginative. But what are we looking for evidence of? Scientists speak of testing a hypothesis. Allow me to translate. They are testing whether something they imagined is real. How did they come to imagine this thing they are testing? They reflect on experiences and observations, their own and those of others. In science, as in religion, experience comes first, then reflection, then imagination, then testing, and then temptation. In science, it is the temptation to regard an accepted theory as fact and to dismiss a surprise as error. In religion, it is the temptation to regard an accepted doctrine as truth and to dismiss difference as error. They're more alike than unalike. How are science and religion different? Science seeks what is real. Religion, what is better. Science seeks what is real. Religion, what is better. That is why we say love is our doctrine. It seems to us love is better than any alternative. True science teaches evidence. True religion teaches love. Leadership and authority also require imagination. That's why real leaders learn teamwork, and the best authorities learn humility. And it's why democratic processes, for all their slow, complicated messiness, are still best. Science seeks what is real, religion what is better, leadership what unites us, and authority is supposed to keep us on track toward a better world. I feel like we're in with a chance. I feel like more and more of our neighbors are seeing more clearly how things are. And so I would close today with a poem I heard again recently that lifted me up, and I hope it will do the same for you. Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president and only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare. Because being an American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith, we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption we feared at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe, now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy, and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left with. Every breath from my bronze-pounded chest will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the West. We will rise from the windswept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover. And every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. May we move forward into love and change by the light of what we know is real and what we imagine will be better. Amen.
So I invite you to remain standing as Amanda comes back to extinguish our chalice, and we join together in saying our closing words, which are, go out into the world in peace, have courage, hold on to what is good, return to no person evil for evil, strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak, help the suffering, honor all beings.
And may you keep reflecting upon, imagining, and testing what might be better.
enchanted evening, you may see a stranger, you may see a stranger across a crowded room, and somehow you know even then, that somewhere you'll see them again and again. Some enchanted